and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode 184. I can't believe it's 184 episodes. It's so close to 200 now. Unbelievable. But yeah, it's me, RGT, and I'm joined this week by a very special guest, YouTuber, game collector. It's Dan the Games Man. How are you, Dan?
Yeah, not too bad. Are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Thank you very much for coming on.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great to have a chat with you. And after watching your videos, and I know quite a few of our community followers of you and sort of subs to your channel, so yeah, they're gonna enjoy this, I think.
Good.
We'll start off. We'll do our usual thing, and that'll be for me to ask you what you've been playing.
So I kind of go from one extreme to the other. Normally, I'll have something quite old school on the go, and then something kind of bang up to date. So the two main games I've been playing is Jurassic Park on the SNES.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. I think just coincidentally to kind of coincide with the 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park, I think it is this year.
Yeah.
And in fact, I finally managed to get a CIB, completely boxed version of the game. But yeah,
nice.
It is a confusing game. If you've never played it before, it's really odd, but it has got some really, really good first-person sections.
I think I remember. Is that when you're like on the back of the truck and you're shooting the dinosaurs chasing you? Is that?
No, I think that was the arcade one. So this
okay.
one's it kind of goes like Wolfenstein with raptors.
Really?
It's not what you expect at all, but it's kind of creepy. Like I reckon if you were young playing it back in the day, that must have been pretty scary. Actually,
I bet. Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I don't think I've played that one. I remember playing the. Oh, you'll have to excuse my memory. I remember playing the more platformy side-scrolling one.
Was that the Mega Drive version?
Yeah, I think it's the Mega Drive one.
Yeah,
yeah, but I don't think I've ever played that SNES version. But it sounds interesting.
That is really, really good. So, like most of the time, it's kind of top-down, like exploration. I think you're trying to find eggs. It does not explain very much. It's one of those kind of old school games. It's like, yeah, here's the game. Get on with it.
Chucks you straight in. Away you go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. No, that sounds it. I might have to keep an eye out for that one. Be another one to add to the collection. So what about your modern game, what you've been playing?
So then going from the SNES to the PlayStation 5, I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, yeah. My good friend who I stream with and listener to the channel, Discord member, Bald Border, he's picked up a PS5 the last about 3-4 weeks ago, and he's been into that, and he's been absolutely loving that game.
It's really good. It essentially takes like all the good bits of Assassin's Creed and just improves upon it. It's just so it feels like you're playing a movie, and it's so cool to play. It's like everything, all the movement, the imagery, the graphics, it just works really cool.
Yeah, the graphics look fantastic on the PS5. I was watching him play it the other week, and yeah, it looked phenomenal. Looked really good.
It's such a good game. So kind of, it's just like playing a film. It's really good.
Oh, brilliant. Any other games you've been playing, or has it mostly been those two?
I've been going back to a lot of GameCube stuff in a minute. So I've been filming a lot of GameCube stuff on my channel.
Yeah.
So yeah, going back, dropping in and out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit like I do. Sometimes I find with my retro stuff, I can't figure out which one to play, so I end up cruising through, playing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, But then again, that's all good to revisit these consoles.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with a lot of the older games, you can kind of jump in for like half an hour. Especially like if you look back on NES, SNES, some of them you can finish like an hour and a half. So
yeah. If you get the old controls down to the ground and you know what you're doing, some of those you can blitz through, can't you?
Definitely,
pretty easily. So that's all you've been playing at the moment, Dan?
Yeah, pretty much. I try and keep it fairly focused. Otherwise, I feel like I'll have like 10 games on the go at the same time, and then I never really finish everything. Except for like I am consistently playing Vampire Survivors still. I think I've been playing it pretty much daily since December, and I'm still finding stuff in that game. And like every so often, then they'll release a new DLC, and it's like, right, I'll hammer through that. And that is one I don't think. I could pick it up and play it any time. I mean, I absolutely love that game.
Yeah, that's good ratings, good award winner, that game. And it's
really good.
About those sort of top-down roguelike games at the moment that just seem to be hitting with people at the moment. They're so addictive, quick jump in and out games.
Exactly, like stuff like that. Jump in, half an hour, that's it. It's really good.
Perfect. Right, well, over to me then. keeping on the roguelike games, and as most listeners will know, I've still been playing Brotato, which is recommended to me as friends of the show and Discord member, Marathon Gamer, the games man. Scott was brilliantly recommended this game, and it got me for how cheap that game is. And this week I've done my first Wave 20 run, and I've absolutely loved it. And like you say, same with Vampire Survivors, you could just jump in and out. If you've only got an hour spare, quickly jump in, have a few runs and out. Whereas if you like playing Ghosts or playing a Horizon Zero Dawn, you need the few hours to,
definitely. Otherwise, you just don't really scratch the surface of anything.
But like what you were saying, I was talking about this on Discord. I think it was last week. My problem was I started too many games at once, too many big games.
Yeah.
And I just had to stop for a couple of days and say, no, I'm not getting into any of them because I'm not giving any of them the time. So I've cut it back a bit now, and I'm just concentrating on a couple. But yeah, Brotato has been my definite little palate cleanser in between when I got half an hour from work. It's been brilliant. I've also been playing on the Switch a game called Game Deck. I don't know if you've heard of that, Dan.
No.
It was on sale, and I took a punt on it because it was, I think it was about £3.50. And I thought I like the look of it, and it's like it's not a point and click, but it's like a isometric mystery sort of puzzle game, and it's set in the future, and your job is out of a game deck, and a game deck is someone that, because in the future they're in these virtual reality chairs and seats, and they, you can feel everything and see everything, and they go off in these worlds that they, that are created by games companies, and these young lads get trapped in the game and they're stuck in it for like 4 days. So you being a game deck, you go in the game in a chair and you have to try and rescue them out. So you have to go on these different parts of this sort of virtual city and interview people and find the answers you need to try and work out who's got them stuck in there and why. And I tell you what, for the money, that's a great little game.
That sounds really sold it with just that description.
Oh, definitely. If I was doing my hidden gems this week, I think that would have been my hidden gem, because I think for the price of that game, it looks good on the Switch. It's nice graphics. That's that lovely isometric style. The story has really intrigued me. That's almost that futuristic sort of steampunk.
Yeah, has it got kind of a cyberpunky kind of feel to it?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, my character he looks quite sort of cyberpunky. And then it's quite an in-depth game. I've seen a lot of other sort of puzzle investigation games which have cost a lot more money that don't have the depth this does. And this, you've got your little side menu, and that shows you the questions you've asked and how far you are into investigation and where to solve and where to head to next. And really clever. And your character you'll pick what sort of specialities he'll have, whether he'll be more violent or he'll be clever in questioning or bits and pieces like that. And I mean, I don't think it's a amazingly long game. I think it's, from what I've read, about 11, 12 hours to complete.
See, I think that's a good length.
Very good. Very good.
I think sometimes when you get like these 100-hour long RPGs, it puts me off. It's like finding that amount of time to put into a game is difficult. That's a real like commitment to start something like that.
I mean, for me, if a game can be 2 or 3 hours long, if the writing's right and the story is really good, and they get across their story to you, whether it's 2 hours or 50 hours, as long as it's done properly, that's always a good game to me. I don't judge a game on hours, on time. But this is, like I say, I'm only a couple of hours into this, maybe 3 hours in, but really enjoying it. It's definitely a recommendation for me. That's Game Deck, and I downloaded it from the Nintendo eShop. But definitely worth a look. If you like them sort of games, or even you fancy something a bit different, that's definitely worth a look. I've also been playing, me and Border again on sort of Saturday evenings. We've got into Generation Zero.
I did play a little bit of that. That's quite a cool one.
Yeah, I think if I played it on my own, I think I'd probably get bored quite quick.
Yeah, that's how I've played a little bit of it and felt like this would be a lot better with people.
Yeah, and I mean, me and him have been just, logging in and playing online together, and it's so much more fun,
Yeah.
I think I was saying the other week on the show, it's good because I was the first one to find a rifle and a sight. So then he'd go off with binoculars and say, "Oh, there's one down in the town. Can you see him in the traffic?" I'd pop the robot off, and then we'd work our way through and clear them out together. And it's really good fun playing together. And I think quite a few games do that really well. Whereas a single player experience, they're a bit okay. This is okay, but if you start them in a multiplayer setting, which I'm not normally a great multiplayer player, if that makes sense.
No.
I don't normally play much online. I'm normally a single player guy, but there was something about this one where you just that felt good going through together and trying to survive and finding these bits and getting to the next point of the map. And and it's also handy if you get taken down, you can revive each other, have share medipacks and weapons and ammo. So it makes the game a lot more approachable, I think. But yeah, definitely that's a good one, especially as a part of the PlayStation Plus package. So that was Generation Zero. Right, excuse me, Starfield.
Yeah, I wondered how long. I knew I was going to mention Starfield because that is on my to play list, and again, that has the. I need to put aside a good 100 hours. I would expect for that because for all their bugs, literally, I do like my Bethesda RPGs. Like Fallout 3 is definitely up there with the best things ever, and it sounds like the perfect kind of game that I want to disappear into and probably never come out for like 3 weeks.
Well, for me, I'm not much of a Bethesda player. I've never been. Yeah, I've played the games, but I'm not a love of their games. I think they're okay. Starfield is definitely the most approachable out of their titles.
Okay.
You design your character. I know you always design your characters, but it's a bit more ease of use. It gently pushes you into the game. The thing I've really struggled with is the immersion break and load screens. It's really took me out of the experience. And I was playing the other day. I mean, I haven't put a great deal in. I'm probably 12 hours in, something like that. But it got to the stage the other day where I was playing. I just had to stop. I was on this mission, and there were so many load screens. I just sort of went, you know what? I'm having a break from it. And I haven't gone back yet. I'm hoping I will, because story, although people say the story is weak, I quite like the story. I sometimes like a story that's not overcomplicated. I like the ship controls are good. You've limited us to where you can fly your ship. And that's another bugbear of mine. I know you have to make compromises in a big game. I understand that. But, that'll say go to this planet. So you'll go to your ship. You click a button to get in your ship, load screen. That'll say take off. So you take off, load screen. Then
what console are you playing on?
Series X.
Really? It's still that? See, I thought I haven't got the Series X yet, and that was going to make the game that made me make the jump, because the jump from the PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 loading is great. It's so much quicker.
Yeah, but I think this is just how the game is designed. There is no there's no choice for you to actually take off yourself or fly to that place yourself. It's just a cutscene or a loading screen. And then you'll get to your
planet. So it kind of ruins the immersion then.
Yeah, it really does for me. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I think there's a really good game in here, and I think there is a good game. And I think maybe more on my part, it's going to take me a few more hours to try and forget about that. Just play the game that's underneath all that. But it did. I mean, I sat here with a drink and I was playing, and then take off load screen. Then I was into get your star map up, find a planet, click on the planet, load screen. Then you get to the place. You can sort of fly a limited area around that planet. You might have the odd pirates you can shoot down, which is good. The ship controls are good. Graphics are very good. It looks nice. But then you find your landing area on a planet. You click that, load screen, then you'll get a cutscene when you land. And then you and there's these little breakups that I don't like. But that's more of a personal bugbear. I think.
I was kind of imagining it was going to be like No Man's Sky. We could just like go, oh, there's a planet. I'm going to just fly down there and land wherever I fancy. I didn't realize it was going to be so kind of not limited, but kind of restricted. But I can kind of understand. Otherwise, you could probably just pilot your ship into a city and obliterate everyone.
Yeah. So I think it's a bit more staggered than what No Man's Sky is. You're more controlled by these little loading screens. As far as planets you can explore, you can go to planets. You can pick a landing point. but then you won't land that ship. You'll pick a landing point, then you just press land, then you wait for
Yeah.
the loading screen, and then the ship lands, and you just have to get out. So, excuse me. But so there is those breakups which I find a little hard. But I mean, the actual game itself, like I say, it looks good. The controls are good, the shooting's good, flying the ships is good. It's just that little bugbear for me. So I've sort of, I think what I'm going to do, because I've got so many games on the go, I'm going to take a step back from it, go on with these other games, get them done, then just have that as my main game.
Yeah.
And get stuck in. Like you say, you're going to need quite a few hours for this game.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you like video games, podcasts, and reminiscing? I'm actor, video game writer, and total sweetie pie Connor Savage McCabe, and on each episode of Call Me By Your Game, I sit down with a guest for an intimate look at a special game from their past. Did you and your dad beat Spyro the Dragon over the holidays? Or was Halo 4 the one thing that united your roommates during your senior year of college? Stories like these are what Call Me By Your Game is about. From video game content creator Janet Garcia to Hades voice actor Courtney Vinay's, I interview wonderful comedians and game industry friends about these memories. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and maybe someday you'll call me by your game.
I do find with not just Bethesda games now, but most games at launch now is it feels like you're at a disadvantage playing day one. Like you can tell, like with a game like that, especially with Starfield, that's probably gonna be a different game in like 2-3 months' time than it is now. It's probably gonna run a lot smoother. Maybe the optimization's gonna be better. It's just kind of those patches.
You say about that. I mean, that's, as everyone knows, everyone was complaining Starfield's locked at 30 FPS. 30 FPS on this game is super smooth 30 FPS. That's the best 30 FPS I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It runs really well. I'll give them their credit. I have not noticed, I remember games I played like Guardians of the Galaxy. I played that in the performance mode, 60 FPS. I dropped it down to 30 FPS, and the difference is staggering. But on this, for a 30 FPS game, it doesn't feel like it's 30 FPS, whether they're doing some trickery in the background. That's super smooth. I've had no issues. I know people always, every game has the glitches they upload, but I haven't had a glitch.
Yeah.
I haven't had a problem. I haven't had anything. So it runs, smooth as anything for me. So I think performance-wise, it's probably one of the best launch and Bethesda games I've seen. I know day one people were complaining, but like you say, I think get 6 months in and play it, and you're probably getting the premium experience of that game. So, but yeah, I will go back to it. I'm just going to have a break from it, try and get done my other games, which I'll get onto now. Final Fantasy 16. I've jumped back on that, and that's sort of my prime game at the minute. I think I want to get that done. I had about 4 hours on there the other day, and I love that game so much. It's brilliant. I love the story. I love the world. You feel part of it. I love the character. I love the combat. I know it's not everyone's Final Fantasy. A lot of the old school Final Fantasy players are a bit detached from it, which I can understand. It is a bit of a different approach to a game. But I think if you go into it thinking that it isn't a Final Fantasy game, it is just a sort of a really tight combat RPG, you'll enjoy it. It's got that Game of Thrones-esque story to it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's good. Really enjoying that. So I think that's going to be my main game from now on, and then try and finish that up, then maybe hop back onto Starfield. And finally, GTA 3. As a few of the listeners will know, we live stream that every Wednesday night, me and Bull Border. Done 2 so far, so I think we're about 7 hours into the game, I think. But as always, absolutely loving that game. I know the remastered trilogy people weren't hot on at first, which, excuse me, wasn't when it launched. Yeah, it had its problems, a lot of problems. Seemed most of them are ironed out now. You got the mist on the cities now. You got the rain, which is not like white streaks completely blinding you every 5 minutes. But I do like keeping those PS2 original Xbox aesthetics. So I like that side of it in sort of a high-res version. And to be honest, we're absolutely loving it because, as most people don't know, me and Bull Border go back a long way. And we used to be housemates. So we played these games on launch when they came out. So replaying them again now.
I think you always remember going back and playing that first time GTA where like the jump from GTA 2 to 3 was changed the game. Like absolutely, like the freedom, it just blew me away when that game came out. It's absolutely crazy. Like
it was a game changer, literally a game changer, that game. And I mean, Bald Border got it. He just bought it on a whim because it looked decent on a shelf. Grand Theft Auto 3, he brought it back. I think I was at work and he played it. He rang me up, said, when you're back from work? I said, back a couple of hours. He said, you wait till you see this game I've got. He said, oh, it's open world. You can do what you want. You can go anywhere. I was like, what? We played it for an end because when Vice City was launched, I was queuing up at midnight waiting for the launch of that game. You know, so we're going to hopefully live stream our way through all three of the trilogy.
Nice.
So it'll take a while, but we're going to do it. And the nostalgia levels are through the roof playing that. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, apart from that, I think the only other thing I played, that was yesterday. Got the little PSP out as my, everyone knows my last PSP screen got destroyed. And lucky, thanks to Boba, you're a legend, mate, our community manager. He found a PSP and sent it to me and said, there you go, mate, try using that one. So I've now got a PSP back up and running. So I started playing Daxter last night because there's still one I haven't played of the Jack and Daxter series. So I didn't play for long, for about an hour, but absolutely thoroughly enjoying that. Loving being back on the PSP again.
I think there's so many kind of hidden gems that people haven't played on the PSP.
Oh,
and
the
like,
library's massive on it.
Yeah, and the comparison, when you go back and essentially had a PlayStation 2 in your hand, and like the amount of like, say like, yeah, you got the Ratchet and Clank games on there, the Grand Theft Auto games on there are incredible as well, like the Killzone handheld games, some really good like big series that they took down to the PSP that worked really well still. And I think it's a console in years to come that people who haven't collected for will kind of realise they've kind of missed the boat a lot on that one.
Definitely, yeah, I agree with you there. I think me and George were talking, can't remember if that was on air or off air, but we were talking about the PSP the other week, and we were just saying how far ahead that was at the time, graphically. But not only that, you know, smartphones weren't really a thing then, but you had this little console in your pocket, which was just the power of a PS2 nearly.
Yeah.
You had your media on there. You could have, you know, your photos. You could have movies, your MD movies. You could have your music on there. All this.
Yeah.
I mean, it was way ahead of its time and such a good little bit of kit. And even now, I mean, I know people are modding them with IPS screens and bits and pieces, but even the original screens still look good.
Oh, that's the thing. Like, Sony did not scrimp on it when they made it.
No,
I'm sure I read somewhere they made a massive loss on every console, but the quality of them, like, they're still solid. Well, except for your one with a broken screen, but I think most of it's still really solid today.
Yeah, I mean, mine was that was the most gutting thing. I bought that on launch. Well, I bought it on launch. I bought it when the PSP 3000 came out. So it was a PSP 3000 in red, sort of the metallic red, and it does not have a mark on it. I've kept that immaculate all these years, and just one day I went to come up the game shed and I just put it in my bag loose. I thought I won't put it in the case. I'll be okay. Something's lent on it and screen's gone. Can't use it. And I was gutted. So ashamed of myself. But like I say, bless Boba sent me a new one, a black PSP, and yeah, I was so good playing that system again. And like you say, there is a lot of hidden gems on that console and games that were just specifically made for that console. That people,
yeah, like the Grand Theft Auto Stories games on there were so good. I prefer playing them on there to anywhere else.
Exactly, I'm the same as you. Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories.
Yeah,
that's
so
the place
good
to play them on there. I know you had your PS2 ports, but
yeah,
they feel at home on the PSP.
Definitely
without a doubt. But yeah, so that takes us up to the end of what we've been playing, and yeah, my list went on a fair while there, which I'll try and narrow down next week. But yeah, let's get to you then, Dan. YouTuber, games collector. I mean, you know, where did it all start for you? Where did gaming start for you? What was your first memory of gaming?
Oh, so very, very first gaming memory. See, I didn't have my own console for a while, so I always had family members who had consoles, and it was an Amiga something. I couldn't tell you what it was because it was and it was a weird off-road racing game. That's probably one of the very first kind of memories I have of playing anything.
Skid Marks, was it?
I couldn't tell. Yeah, it probably was. It's probably a game I actually have in the collection now and just haven't realised. But I think that was the very first thing I ever played.
Yeah, I remember I did. If it is skid marks, I remember I played the death out of that game. I loved it on my Amiga 500. It's a brilliant game.
And then so I think the very first kind of consoles I had were kind of the very classic Pong plug into TV kind of consoles that literally the black and white,
Yeah,
the kind of screwy controller, and
yeah,
it was like, I think even had a light gun, like a kind of target game. It
yeah,
was one of those like Binatone or something, like one of those
yeah,
really kind of old school.
yeah. That's
That
what
makes
we
me
had
sound
those.
way older than I am.
No, we had those little grandstand or Binatone, something
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
it's one of those ones you kind of get passed down by various people, or you just,
Yeah,
you pick up so cheap. That
yeah,
was the kind of time when there was like hundreds of those weird kind of plug and play, for lack of better kind of terms,
yeah.
TV ones.
But what was your first sort of time you got a? Did you go for the micros or did you go for games or did you go straight into consoles or?
So my very first console was the original Game Boy,
Oh wow!
and that was the pack that came with Tetris and the Mario puzzle game. I never remember
Oh,
the kind of.
was it the oh, what do you want to say? The Sega one, the Mean Bean Machine. That's like Dr. Mario. Was it that one or?
No, it wasn't Dr. Mario. I think it was it Mario and Yoshi one where you kind of stacked the eggs together and then they hatched and it was
Oh
all.
yeah, I know what you mean.
I
Yeah,
think it was that kind of classic value pack they kind of released for the Game
yeah,
Boy. It came with like these two games.
yeah,
And yeah, that was like the first one. And then a year later was the Master System,
yeah.
which then had obviously Sonic the Hedgehog built in. And that was the one I think that kind of got me more.
Mm,
It's like to have the full kind of color on the TV. That was like so much better.
yeah. I mean, the micro route, and then my first proper console was a Master System. Well, Master System 2 I had with Alex Kidd built in,
Yeah.
and yeah, just seeing them rather than my sort of Spectrum color clash and black backgrounds going to full color on the screen just amazed me. Absolutely amazed me. I have so many good memories of the Master System. It was a great little console.
Again, I think that's a console that a lot of people kind of ignore because when I was growing up, no one I knew had Nintendo, which is really weird.
Same with
Everyone
me.
I
Yeah,
knew had Sega. I think worldwide, I think like, you ask most people outside the UK and they started off with Nintendos, but I think the UK was definitely a lot more Sega heavy in the
definitely.
kind
Yeah.
of early 90s.
It weren't until what I knew around. I mean, I never knew anyone with an NES. I didn't know no one. Everyone was either Master System, all I had Amigas. But once the 16-bit started coming out, and then I started seeing people getting their SNESs, and then the playground rivalry started with your Mega Drive and your Blast processor and all the rest.
I think the kind of high school one for me was PlayStation versus N64.
Yeah,
That was the big one.
yeah. I always remember that. Yeah, we got 64 bits. Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
so it's twice as powerful as the PlayStation, isn't it? So
Yeah, and
obviously.
but we've got CD soundtracks on ours. You can't do that, So that was always the rose. I remember that. Yeah, very vividly. Yeah. Oh, so Master System. Yeah, definitely. That's a great console to start on. So many people I know as well started with a Master System, and then that was it. They were on games the rest of their lives after playing.
Yeah.
So what obviously you're a big collector. What would you probably say is your favourite system in your collection?
Oh, such a difficult one. See, I will always have a soft spot for the original Xbox, as that was one of the very first consoles that I super went really hard collecting for, because
Mm.
I think when I started collecting again, I kind of casually collected for years. And then when I moved into the house I'm in now, I kind of went hardcore with the collecting because I had the space to finally kind of, after selling stuff for so many years. And the OG Xbox was the one I really went hard on when I first started collecting because it was so cheap at that point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I only got into because through my gaming history, I was PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, and then but once I started my collecting, whatever it was, 12 years ago, I thought I'm going to get an original Xbox, and I absolutely love it. Such a good system. And you don't realise till you collect for it how many exclusives there is for that machine.
Well, that was the thing. You essentially could play a lot of the games that would be on PC at that point on a console that cost a fraction of the price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and great graphics. I mean, And there were so many games I missed out on not having the Xbox at the time, being in the PlayStation ecosystem. So I've been, over the last couple of years, I've been getting into my Halos and bits and pieces and Project Gotham Race and playing all these games that I'd missed on the years, going back. And to me, having the original Xbox now, I'm more excited than buying a modern console. That's that feeling of having a new console for me, new library to hit. And loving that machine. That's great.
Yeah, for me, it was when I first played Halo in an in-store kiosk in Electronics Boutique.
Oh, Electronics
That
Boutique.
was like, to play a game like that on a console, which then, again, I think with a lot of these games around that time, like with your Grand Theft Auto, your Halos, it was that kind of freedom, like that opening level of Halo once you crash on the planet. It's like, here's what we need you to do, but just do it how you kind of want, like flying around in a warthog and like then picking up from the Marines and like just drive-bying the enemies. It was just like, it was great. And the graphics then felt really like a new level.
I played that through for the first time on original hardware last year. And it still looks fantastic. Played it on a CRT, looks awesome. Controls are brilliant. The story's fantastic. And we always do at the end of the year, our best games were played that year. Doesn't have to be released that year. They just have to be games we've played. And that was in my top 10 games I played last year. Phenomenal game. The
first 3 Halo games are absolutely fantastic. I think they did pull it back a bit with Infinite. Like, I did kind of lose interest after Halo 3 a little bit. But as well, going back to that original Halo and why I love the original Xbox was when we used to do we did multiplayer nights with multiple consoles, multiple TVs on Halo, on Blood Gulch. And that was like,
that was so much fun.
Amazing. Like the two giant, like 32-inch CRTs, we were like carrying them across the room like this. And I just sat either end of the room, and the rage that used to come from playing Halo 2-on-2.
I bet.
It was absolute carnage. But yeah, and like, it was some of the first times you kind of be able to play online easily as well.
Yeah. That was a new introduction for a lot of people, that playing online. That was another direction Microsoft took it and just ran with it. And you wouldn't think nothing of it nowadays, but then that was a big thing.
And that was a wild time playing online. Then there was some colourful language and some there was a lot of bullying going on back then in the early Xbox days. Like, I definitely learned some words and some insults I'd never learned before.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I think it was before they monetized it a bit more. It was a bit toxic back in the day. Right?
Yeah, I can remember like when they were running Xbox adverts, like telling people not to essentially destroy people online.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was a wild west of gaming back then.
Oh, I bet it was, yeah. But yeah, great memories of that system. Well, that takes on to your next question. So what would you say? I know this is a hard question. I've been asked this loads of times, and it is hard, but do you have an all-time favourite game?
Yeah, see, it changes day to day. See, I do really like my Bethesda games. I would, for the time and place of when I played it, I would very often say Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Because that was a time when I would literally go to work and I'd come home, I'd plow the entire night into it, sleep for 2 or 3 hours, rinse, repeat. I had no other kind of responsibilities. It was like, right, I am getting home, I'm dropping into that wasteland. And that is a game I don't think you'll ever complete as such. There is always something to find that game. And like, that was the base game. And, then they had all the expansions, like the other expansion of that game, that made it absolutely huge.
Yeah, I mean, they always know how to make an open world map, didn't they, Bethesda? And I think it's also, I think with games, with a favourite game, I always say this to people, it hasn't got to be a banger game. It hasn't got to be an Ocarina of Time. It's always a game that you played at a certain time and a certain stage of your life, so it all combines. So that game could be just Angry Birds, but it's where you were and how you felt at that time, and that always adds to the nostalgia of the game that you love, you know, and I find that as well. I mean, I've got a very strange top 5 games of all time, and when I tell people, they go, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but that's for when I played it and how, you know, where I was at that time in life. You know, it makes a big difference what you play, you know." But yeah, Fallout 3, yeah, brilliant game and big, like you say.
Yeah, like, absolutely. And it annoys me that Bethesda haven't bought it back. Like, still to this day, one of the craziest things I've ever played, and if people haven't played it, it's worth doing now because you can do it affordably, is Skyrim on PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
It is. I've played Skyrim on everything, you know, on multiple consoles, multiple ways, but that gives you a sense of how big that world is, unlike anything. I still think that's one of the craziest game experience you can have is when you start to walk around in Skyrim in VR and realize just how big everything is and how far everything is. It makes that big game feel absolutely ginormous. I wish they would give Fallout 3 that VR. I think that would be absolutely incredible.
That would be incredible, wouldn't it? That, I mean, that's another thing I think where I know the PSVR 2 seems almost dead in the water. They seem to have always given up on that before they've started. But PSVR 1 I loved, and that was the scope that could add to games. You know, like you said, like your Skyrims, you always knew it was a big game, but actually seeing it through your own eyes, you then realise that you are in this world. And that was. I wish they'd have done that to more games, open world games in VR.
Did you ever play Doom 2016 in VR?
No, because I didn't, because I was more scared of the motion sickness in it, because that game's
It's the only game that gave me motion sickness. It is so incredibly extreme. The game is fast when you play it normally, but in VR, it's too much. It is like a sensory overload. It's like, you know, they used to do those adverts for like games in the 90s. It's like, it's so fast, it'll blow your mind. You take the headset off to play and Doom, you're like, you just need a moment. And yeah, that's a crazy, crazy game in VR. It's a shame I think in the future, more people will go back to PlayStation VR 1 now because it's so cheap. I think when it came, like, that's the only thing that's put me off PlayStation VR 2. Like, I really want to play Horizon. Is it Call of the Wild?
Yeah.
That looks crazy, but 500 quid to essentially play not many games at the minute. As you said, it just seems like they've kind of bought it out and it's dead in the water.
Well, we were comparing this, and tell us if you think we're right. Me and George were comparing this to Sega at the moment, how PlayStation are going with the Mega CD, 32X, all these different add-ons and bits. They seem to be flooding the market. Now, I understand the law of businesses. If you've got a successful product, you make add-ons because there's a greater number of people to buy these add-ons. But it seems that they've almost saturated a bit, and people are going, well, do I buy a Q Lite or do I buy a PSVR 2?
Who is the Q Lite for? That's what I don't understand. It's like, who wants that? And I don't understand. It's like, it's very much like kind of when the Wii U came out. It's like, it's portable, but it's not.
No. I'm one of the few actually quite like the look of it. I think it's
good.
I mean, as far as in my mind, the DualSense is the best controller ever made. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So having that on the sides is quite nice. I was a bit worried about how flimsy it looked, but on second looks, it does look quite sturdy. But if say Mrs. RGT wants to watch a movie and I go in the bedroom, I'll just play on my Switch. Am I going to spend $200 on something just to add? I don't know. And then I can't. I'm presuming you can, if your internet's strong enough, take it somewhere different and then log on to your PS5 with the internet. But
but then does the PlayStation 5 always have to be in the kind of rest mode, like ready to go?
Well, that's what I thought. But when I last watched their last reveal of it, it seems as though you can have. I might be wrong here, so community corrections in the Discord, but I think you can actually have your PlayStation 5 off and you can actually turn it on through, so whether it turns it on through the internet or what, I don't know, but it can turn it on and off, which would be a great feature, because if you're going away for 2 weeks, do you really want to leave your PS5 in rest mode? I don't.
Yeah, I think it's another thing with Sony, like you said, to kind of compared it to Sega, they don't really explain a lot anymore.
And also with it as well, which I think is the major sticking point here. If you take your Switch, if you're on a plane, you pull your Switch out, you play a game. You're not going to be able to do this until you've got internet. So the actual distance of traveling, you cannot use this.
No.
You can only use this once you've got to somewhere with a secure internet to link
Yeah.
back to home. So the actual gaming on the go side of it is non-existent. It's just to play your PS5 when you're somewhere else. And I think
it's like,
I'll just have
why can't we just have another Vita or another PSP? That's what everyone. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Sony felt they got burnt with the Vita and just won't go back. But
I would love another Sony handheld, and start sticking some spin-off exclusives on, like they did with the Vita, with Golden Abyss, Uncharted, and
that was the one I was going to say about. Like,
game,
I'm still annoyed they didn't put that on the Uncharted collection for PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that would have been a great way to play that for a lot of people.
It's another game, yeah, because for like the less than probably 100 people who have played it in the entire world.
And if I'm correct, I think it is the original first Uncharted. It's the prequel, so to the first Uncharted. So it's the best way to. You think that would have been on there, and then play through the whole. You could play.
Yeah, and that would have like given that collection like a bit more value rather than just.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a whole new weird thing with PlayStation. I mean, it's releasing games again, like with the Uncharted collection, the Last of Us. Like, yeah, they're doing some odd decisions at the minute.
Thing is, with these games as well, I mean, the Uncharted I bought, so I'm a massive fan of Uncharted. I've got a massive collection of Uncharted stuff. So they could re-release it 10 times, and I'm still a mug. I'll still buy it, but they always seem to do well with them. And, like when they done The Last of Us for the PS5, everyone's going, oh, no, why are they re-releasing that? They done it on the PS4, done it on the PS3. But they seem to time it with that TV series, and that just sold so well.
Yeah.
And you think they seem to nail it. I suppose that's a bit with Nintendo always remastering Mario games and bits and pieces because they know they'll be sold. So I suppose on a business front, you're going to do them.
And the thing is as well, I guess, if someone somewhere, the PlayStation 5 is their first console, they've never played a game, and I suppose they want to jump in and play it because with the Uncharted games, with The Last of Us, the storyline is sublime. And it's just to get that, that's a timeless game now. So just to kind of keep updating it, I suppose does make sense. Especially just like people like us who've played them on PlayStation 3, then maybe gone, I double dip on the PlayStation 4, and then gone onto PlayStation 5. It's like, but yeah, I can understand it. But
yeah, I suppose like you said, I did say it to a few people myself as people who have jumped across to the PlayStation ecosystem for the first time. That's the premium way to play Last of Us, I suppose. So yeah, there is that, I suppose, but it does sort of line up maybe a Last of Us 2 remaster coming out when the next series comes out, I would imagine. I think you can see that on the horizon. But right, going back to questions, going the other way now, what would you say is the worst game you've ever played?
Oh, worst.
Or even games, I mean, because quite a few games have done this where they promised a world released and you're like, this is unplayable.
See, there's a fine line between like a game that's physically unplayable. Like, I can't remember what it was. There was a truck racing game on the PS2 that was pretty much literally unplayable.
That weren't trucking game. That weren't 18-wheeler, was it? Or
it was something like that.
I remember that. That was a complete.
I think it was 18-wheeler something.
Backgrounds,
yeah, and it's like you could just hold for like there was no collision detection, and I think the game went infinitely fast in reverse, and
yes.
it was just so incredible. See, games like that are just broken. Like, but I think looking at the worst game that I've ever played is actually fairly modern, and I think it's just worse because it's so stupid. But it's kind of one of those ones I couldn't stop playing. Was probably Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
Really?
Because it's so laughably stupid.
Really? What like the story or the actions you do, or the controls, or
it's just if the Call of Duty games kind of kept getting sillier and sillier and sillier and sillier, like kind of how the Fast and Furious films track like that.
Yeah.
And that one is essentially like you're at war with Mars, and Mars is being like led by Jon Snow, because that was also the height of Game of Thrones. So you had like Jon Snow as the main character, and all you can see is him being Jon Snow, and it's like you have like space fights above Earth, and then it's so beyond stupid, but it's one of those ones you can't stop. And I think like if eventually have a knife fight at the end in space. It's so stupid.
It almost reminds me of the route that the Saints Row games went. Well, they started off as one thing, as a
Yeah. I think
GTA
the thing
clone,
is,
and ended up being in hell. And
with Saints Row, the tongue was firmly in the cheek and they knew what they were doing. I think with Call of Duty, they were like straight face said, yes, it's good. It's like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, I think I remember that when that first came out and people were like, what is this? This is a Call of Duty. This is ridiculous.
And it's, even the title, like Infinite Warfare, it's like, the warfare does end in it. There is a definitive ending to the game. It's just, yeah. I think it's a terrible game, but it's also hilariously bad.
Yeah, some games are like that, don't they? You go back to them, they're funny for playing and fun to play because they're that terrible, What I was going to ask you, being a collector, like I am, and George and quite a few other people in the Discord, how do you feel about graded games? Is it something you would purchase yourself, or have you purchased, or is it something that you don't agree with, or how do you stand on that?
If people want to have something that is essentially pointless, that's up to them. I very much open my games. I will keep stuff sealed until I'm ready to play it. I buy a lot of stuff from limited run games, so I do have it sealed because sometimes I will play it digitally. But when it comes to graded, when at the end of the day they are games to me, they are there to be played, and some of the prices on some of these graded games are absolutely absurd.
Well, it's. I'll be careful what I say, but it is a false market. It's a false.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we all saw the kind of controversy with what happened there, and yeah, I think for me, it's just people trying to exploit is a strong word, but it's people exploiting the market and kind of outpricing people.
Yeah, you're right. I think for me, I have no problem with, for instance, say you, Dan the Games Man, you're mad on Call of Duty games. You've got a sealed copy of your favourite ever Call of Duty game. You think, I want to preserve this. I'm going to pay and get it graded, and I'll put it on my shelf, and it's sealed and nice.
Yeah,
fine. But as like you say, it's the people who manipulate the market that have no interest in gaming other than to make money.
Yeah.
And drag all the prices up for us collectors and people who like playing games. That's where it sits, a little raw for me, because I just think, if it was gamers grading games to enjoy them and have them sitting on their shelves, that's fine. But probably 50% of people who are doing this aren't into games at all. They've just given up on the comic book market. They've given up on the baseball card market, and they're now trying to push the prices up in the gaming market, which is, unfortunately, the only people that probably normally affect is the likes of me and you who are collectors. So, yeah, it's a bit of a sticking point in the old graded games at the minute. But I always like to ask a question to other collectors just to see, where people stand on, graded games and how they feel, because this is a funny area, I think, of our hobby.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. I understand, like, say with a lot of things, I'd be more interested in the grade, like action figures. I think I do collect quite a lot of boxed retro toys, and I can see more the point in collecting them. And I can see something like Pokemon cards. I can really understand the grading, because then that is perfect. That is in there. That is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But with gay, I don't understand, because with like a graded toy, a graded Pokemon card, you can still enjoy that. With a graded game, it's like, oh, yeah, I just look at it. It's just there, then it seems weird to me.
It's an odd thing to get graded. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, like you say, with your cards and your toys, you can still see them. You'd keep them in the box. You'd keep them, in your cards. You can see the card, look at it, and it's a graded one. That's a good version of that card. Whereas a game, you think, well, how do they? If you've got two copies of Call of Duty and they're sealed and they're both graded, what gives that one a 7.5 and that one a 10? I don't.
Yeah.
What do they mark down? Where is their list of what they judge on? Is the part of the flap of the seal gone, or it's really weird. And I don't know if I actually trust the system, if you know what I mean. It seems
no. I think especially with some of the things that happened over the past years, it's very much like, yeah, it does seem a little bit sus.
Yeah, definitely. Right, on to you then. What about YouTube? What got you started into YouTube, then, Dan?
So it comes down to the classic lockdown. I was very much. It was in the height of lockdown, and I was watching a lot of YouTube, and I was like, you know, I could probably do this. You know, I wanted to, and it also comes to the fact where with my age now, a lot of people, when I grew up, everyone I knew played video games.
Yeah.
And I think the older you get, the less people play, the less people you have to talk to. And it's just having the community on YouTube. Like, I can buy like a cool game and like people on YouTube are like, yeah, that's really exciting. If you like going to work and say, oh, I bought like this Boxed N64 game, they're like, why? And it's like, yeah, it's just kind of sharing the interest and kind of the journey with other people. And especially like during lockdown, because we were very much like at home, it's having more people to kind of reach out to, talk to, network with. It's just really, it was just a really cool way to kind of get through what was a really weird time.
So do you find it quite time consuming doing your videos and editing and bits and pieces, or have you sort of got it down to a bit of a tea now? Or
no, it does take a lot of time, but it's one of those things like kind of, it's the more time you put into it, I think the more you get out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm kind of constantly making my own job harder by adding more kind of stuff to it, making it more complicated, adding stuff in, and I'm just always striving to kind of make it better. So it just does take more and more time. You're constantly learning how to make it better.
Yeah, I suppose that is same when I started podcasting. It's all new to you when you start, but as you go, you streamline things, you find better equipment, you find ways of editing stuff, so it smooths out as you go along, doesn't it? And it's something that becomes more of a sort of an autopilot routine rather than actually having to think about everything as you go. So I suppose, it streamlines as you go, I suppose. So, and
I think it's kind of finding your own voice as well. Like, you don't want to just be the same as everyone else. Like, a lot of people say I am quite shouty when I'm talking about games. I do get quite excited. I do get quite volumized.
Oh, no, I love the passion. I love hearing you speak about your games.
I think if you're like, hello, so today I bought this Boxed N64 game. It was like £200. I'm really happy. Yeah, cool. And no one's really going to like, you have to kind of, with YouTube, I think as well, you have about a minute to grab someone's attention. Like, I don't want to say you do using clickbait kind of things, but you need something that's going to be interesting straight away.
Yeah, you got them first few seconds where someone who clicks on your video needs to go, I want to watch this. This sounds brilliant. This guy sounds awesome. I need to watch this. So that's them first few seconds where you need to nail it, I think. And I definitely think you do, because you always do when I watch your video. So what, out of all your collecting and obviously your videos you make, what's your best find you've ever done, do you think? Either game or console or...
so one of the best finds I ever found was on Facebook Marketplace, and it was a PlayStation 3 test console.
No.
And it was... Now, I'm in Norwich, and if you don't, I picked it up from Lowestoft, which is about an hour's drive from Norwich.
Not far from me, that.
Yeah, and it just came up on Facebook Marketplace. It was just listed as PlayStation 3. It was a terrible picture, and I literally could just tell. So if you haven't seen, I don't think I have it to hand, unfortunately. If you haven't seen the PlayStation 3 test console, it has PlayStation 3, and just underneath it has test.
Yeah.
And that's the only difference. If you didn't know, you wouldn't know. I think I picked it up for 20 quid.
No way. Did it work okay? Everything works well?
Yep. All works okay.
So I suppose it's now, because I don't believe they have the Blu-ray player in, do they?
They do have the Blu-ray in. It does. So it's multi-region. It plays everything. It is quite temperamental because it can't connect to the internet.
Ah, okay.
Because obviously it has a lot of code on there. So some games it'll be like, it will not know what they are. But essentially it's like you can debug games on there. I think it is meant to come with some software, but it's just one of those weird... I don't know how you'd get hold of one if not.
I've seen videos of people, especially stateside, that have had them. I've all the conventions bits I've been to, I've never seen one for sale. I've never seen one advertised.
No.
I mean, especially over here in the UK, I would imagine they're very rare beasts to get hold of. So that is an amazing find out, Dan. That must be brilliant.
Yeah,
having that system, especially even if you didn't use it out on the shelf, just to say, "Yep, I've got a."
Yeah, it's one of those ones I don't, because obviously it's the old original PlayStation 3, and I don't want to ever open it up. I don't use it very often because of the overheating.
Yeah, And I suppose it is another one of them you're a bit worried about. That's not like opening up any standard PS3, is it? You know, this
No.
is specialised for a certain thing. So, it'd be worrying to open it. So, yeah, it's probably a good choice to use it sparingly.
But as a display piece, it's like, it's quite incredible.
So, I mean, like I say, as we're collectors, have you, especially of late with game prices, if you find it harder for collecting games or for certain consoles, or do you? I tend to try and aim for the console that's not popular at the time. So I try and collect for the systems that are cheap, which I know are going to go up, because certain markets fluctuate. Some are just skyrocketing, some are dropping off a bit. But it is sometimes you look at games when you haven't, there's been a game I've wanted, looked at it a year ago and thought, I'll get that in a little while. Looked at it a year later and thought, why has that gone up £300? So it does fluctuate. Do you find that a struggle nowadays with your collection with the game prices?
Yeah, I do and I don't, because I'm very much an opportunist when it comes to like collecting. I think the right time to buy something is normally when you see it and when it's the right price for yourself.
Yes, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of it is just what I will come across in the wild or on Facebook Marketplace or even on CEX. Like I have hundreds of stock alerts set up on CEX waiting for stuff to kind of come on. And that is very much like a stock market on there. You have to know when is the right time to buy something, because the prices fluctuate on there so hard. And especially with some games now, they just do not appear on there. And that's what I've very much found with my PlayStation Platinum project series I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Some of those games do not come up very often.
Yeah, it must be hard. I suppose you've got to judge it not on what price it is, or it's got to be what price it's right for you, and then pull a trigger on that game. Because I think we all have, for certain games we've always wanted, we have that little price in the back of our mind, and sometimes you just think, right, I'm going to pull a trigger on this.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could be wrong, but it's 9 times out of 10 that's when it feels right. If it don't feel right, don't buy it. As simple as that. I know you're probably on a time limit with your platinum collection, but
yes, to the end of the year. So I think I have overpaid on a couple of bits, but definitely underpaid on some others as well.
So I think normally, how many do you need left now in your collection?
It's about, I'm dropping a new episode this week, or maybe next week now, and then it's going to take it down to about the last 30 games. But the problem is, what I'm finding is I'm working off a list, and because I think a lot of people aren't too concerned about the platinum releases, there doesn't seem to be a definitive answer to how many there is. So I'm going off the fact there's 160. But some of the games, I'm starting to wonder if they actually exist.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's probably worth a shout on here. If any of you guys in Discord, if you do know or know anyone that's working at Sony, I mean, might be worth, if you're listening, Mr. Mike Grace, Retro Gamer Boy, if you're there, drop it in our Discord. He's a member of the Discord. If you know anything about the PlayStation Platinums list or anything like that, just or if you know anyone you could ask, and then we might be able to help Dan out. And just
that'd be really good, because
it's list for him.
It's coming to the point now where I realise some of them, I'm going for the complete PAL collection, but PAL obviously includes the whole of Europe and also Australia, and some of the games are exclusive to those territories.
Oh, yeah, that makes it tricky to pick them up.
So I have been finding some of the ones from France, Germany, and even Australia, and having to eBay them, because it's some of the more obscure sports games that only got released in Australia.
Oh, so I suppose that would be more sort of like Aussie rules football, that sort of thing, would it? Or
it's more like,
or
so I think there's like Moto Racer, so like an off-road motorbike dirt cross kind of game. There's 2 of them that are quite common here in the UK, quite easy to get. But then there's Motocross World Tour, which is I think that's either Australian or French exclusive for some unbeknownst reason. And like one of the ones I found recently was Star Wars. It's going to annoy me now. What Star Wars? So one of the classic Star Wars games was only released in Germany.
Really, I never knew that.
So they released a black label in all. I'm trying to see if I can look over the shelf now to see what it is. Yeah, it's one of the classic Star Wars kind of games. Was only released in Germany on the platinum label. No idea why. Just wasn't released anywhere else.
That's strange, that, isn't it? Because you think that the numbers
Such a big IP, such as Star Wars, you think that would be a
and
no-brainer.
also, is it 400,000 they need to sell to be a platinum?
Yeah, at least 400,000 to sell.
So you would imagine that those 400,000 plus would have been sold over the whole of Europe, so they would have released the platinum.
Yeah.
The whole. Why would you release that? Just
no idea, unless it was kind of by that time licensing or
maybe,
very strange. And then as well, obviously with the German releases, it could be quite a different game because the kind of German rating system is very different to outside to every other territory.
Yeah, and I bet you've been shocked probably with some of the platinum prices because you think platinum they're the cheaper versions, but I bet they aren't always, are they?
It's not too bad. There's not any so far that I found that I think still the most expensive is about 80 quid and is Silent Hill.
Really?
And for me, I know pretty much I can go and buy a copy anytime. And for me, it's going to be the last one.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of end because it's difficult sometimes with the games like that, which are expensive and already have a black label to buy again.
Yeah. But I suppose also if you're leaving it to the last one, I suppose the plus side of that is you won't feel so bad spending £80 on what the last one you need to complete the collection.
Yeah, because it'll be kind of the final chapter as such.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant though. If you get that completed this year, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
So what, as a collection as a whole, do you have any aims for your collection? Is there anything you want to complete, or is it just me personally, I go through waves of consoles I collect for. I have a bit of a Wii U spurt, and then I go on to back to Mega Drive. Then I'm on something, and I go through waves. Are you similar to that, or do you have?
Yeah, I'm terrible. I can't. That's why I set up the PlayStation Platinum project this year, was to try and kind of focus what I was doing because I have. So like this week, I'm now going to start on I've been collecting softly for this console for quite a while. So it's the Mega CD.
Yeah.
So I've been collecting softly for it because it's a console you can't just really go online and just buy games for as readily because they're just hard to find. And this week I finally bit the bullet and bought a Mega CD 1.
Yeah.
I found it on Vinted, got a deal I couldn't refuse. Finally bought it. Yeah. Just that is the 90s personified in a console right there. And that is probably a console I will focus on collecting for the next few months where I can. So that's the kind of console if I go to a games convention or like a big game store that I'll be looking for specifically, because I know if you see a Mega CD game you haven't got, it's probably that's the time to buy.
Yeah. I mean, I knew 5 years ago, there was a guy I knew locally, and this is the honest truth, he had a complete PAL Mega CD collection sealed.
Wow.
Sealed. And he flogged it for a fraction of what it was.
I don't even know. How many games even is that?
I don't think it's that many. I think it's I think it's about 90 odd games, something like that.
Yeah.
It's 97 or something, 93. Just correct me in the Discord, guys, if you know the number, but I think it's about that. But yeah, he had a complete sealed collection. He sold it to a collector out in Germany, I think. Sold the whole lot in one go. But
that's mad.
Yeah, it's mad. But I'll definitely, people will laugh at the Discord now. I always say this, but with your Mega CD, definitely looked at getting it recapped.
Yeah.
Them caps are, I've just had mine done and I just caught it in time. So I had my Mega CD and my Mega Drive done together and had the full recap on that. And actually, surprisingly as well, when I played it from first having it recapped, the graphics and colours look so good. You wouldn't think it would affect that. It looks so different. But yeah, I'm so glad I had that done because they are quite leaky on there. So definitely worth having a look at those and getting that done. But yeah, so sort of that's what you're sort of aiming at the minute, is just gently getting those Mega CD titles in.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of the kind of ones I want. I think the game I'm most looking forward to playing is Night Trap because for me personifies the Mega CD. But it's like I haven't,
classic,
but I haven't going back to Jurassic Park earlier. I definitely want to get the Jurassic Park Mega CD game because that's like no other Jurassic Park game. That's a weird point and click adventure game, I think it is.
Yeah, I think I've never played it. I have seen it on YouTube and it does look very different to what the routes they normally went down.
And I just haven't got some of the big hitters. I haven't got Sonic CD. Was it Sonic?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which looks, it's a Sega console. I have to get the Sonic game, and also Final Fight looks absolutely incredible on
Yeah,
there.
I've got Final Fight. That is brilliant. That's the version to play, because I think SNES version is only single player, whereas it's multiplayer on the Mega CD, and that's great fun to play through.
Yeah, it looks like that kind of game on like the Sega consoles back then, like Streets of Rage, bits like that, that was the peak of 16-bit gaming.
Brilliant as well, and especially if you get your Mega CD and Mega Drive put through your stereo at home, so you can get awesome Mega CD soundtracks blaring out your speakers. So good. Yeah, they're absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I do love Mega CD. It's not one I hunt for a lot, but I suppose I've got it next to me now. I've got I got 35. I think I've got titles, something like that.
That's quite a large collection, really, for a console like that.
I suppose that's a third of the library, I suppose. But I've got most of the ones I want, but I do occasionally at video game markets, you'll see one and think, I think I'm going to have to get that. And then once every year, every 2 years, I drop another title into the collection because
it's a console that's definitely getting very expensive to collect for.
Definitely. I mean,
and it is one where, say, a game like Snatcher, I have got an Evercade cartridge, and I am going to emulate that one. Unless something radically changes, I cannot imagine I'm going to be dropping like £500 on a copy of Snatcher. Look and see if it's there.
Yeah, well, I haven't got the original Snatcher, but it was me and George from the show. We bought from a guy who does reproductions.
Yeah, nice.
In the case, the manual, the disc. If you weren't a collector of games, you'd think it was an original. I can't find it in a minute. I'll have to show you when we finish the show. But that is just plays brilliantly, and they're £16.
Yeah,
they're not 3,000. They're £16, and they look good. I know it's a repro. It's not the original stuff.
I know. It's like, it's how much are you willing to pay to play some of these games? Sometimes I think personally, £500 is probably too much.
Yes, definitely. And this guy does great work with these Mega CD games. So yeah, if it's more the expensive title, and you're not fussed about having the original, but you still want to play on the original hardware, that's a good route to go, especially nowadays.
That for me is more important, playing it on the original hardware.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'll try and find the link and send it to you this week, because
definitely
it's a good little store. It's worth having a look. So, have you got any future plans for your collection? How far do you see your collection going? Is there any set thing you want to do, or is it just literally just enjoy it, just collect and see?
It's just kind of collecting and seeing where it naturally goes. Like, I think it's very much. It sounds so cliche. It's very much about the journey rather than the destination. Like, I'm quite lucky. I get out and see some pretty crazy places. I like to get around to gaming conventions. I like to try and visit as many stores as possible. And I think for me, it's you never know what's around the corner or what's going to turn up next.
Yeah.
Like, you can go to, say, a car boot on any given day, and you can find something, you could find something you've never seen before.
Oh, it's crazy, the things, This is the same guy, actually, who had the Mega CD collection. He used to always hit the car boots, but he knew something about games, not a lot. And he came back to me once with a handful of Game & Watches all in boxes.
Wow.
The guy wanted £4 each, because he bought them all. He sold them to him for £2 each. He came to me, he said, "Are these worth anything?" And I'm like, yeah. He sold them for a fortune in the end, but it's just, guy didn't know what he had. He'd bought them back in the day. They were still in the boxes, and that's that.
Sometimes it's one of those really awkward things with something like that, when you sit there and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, that's like £1." You're looking at it going, "That's worth a lot more than that." It's kind of, sometimes it's a guilt as well. You don't want to overtly go and rip somebody off, but then again, I think people do have the obligation to know how much something's worth.
Yeah. I think sometimes your conscience can get the better of you. I had my little nephew, this was 5-6 years ago. He said, my friend wants to sell his Game Boy. Would you like to buy it for your collection? I said, yeah, okay, I'll buy it for me. He wants £3 for it. It was a yellow Pokemon Game Boy.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're worth quite a lot more than that. So I went round his house to pick it up. I saw his dad. And I think at the time they were going for about £60. I said, "Yeah, it's £20." And he went, "Oh no, we don't want all that, £3 for it." I said, "No, this is actually quite collectible, so I'll give you £20." He was like, "Oh, thanks for being honest," And
Yeah.
I felt a bit better because I'd got a cheaper system, but I'd give them a bit extra because to let them know that it was a bit cheap what they were selling it, so everyone was a winner, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I thought, well, that's a bit more pocket money for him. But yeah, sometimes you either find people, especially at car boots, someone who thinks they are quite intelligent with games but aren't. So they'll have a FIFA PS2 game. They want £20 for it because they think it's collectible. Or you find someone that just chucks games out that some rare titles that you can pick up for next to nothing, and they've no idea of what they got in the boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Hit and miss in it sometimes. That's a funny thing. But have you ever been? It's another one I like to ask. Have you ever been scammed by anyone? You ever bought anything you thought was a good deal online, or gone to pick something up on Facebook Marketplace?
I have bought some N64. I think with cartridge games online now, you have to be so incredibly
especially
careful.
Like Game Boy Advance or something.
Pokemon
like
games,
yeah.
like some of the counterfeit. And this is the thing. Honestly, I think 9 times out of 10, some people don't even realize they're fake. Because some of them are crazy good now. It's only when you literally open them up and go, this is fake. Like, I have a copy of Paper Mario for the N64, which one of the ways I buy stuff on eBay, I'll go with newly listed and I'll try and get things as soon as it's listed, good price, just because stuff when it's priced well on eBay, it sells, as we all know, instantaneously. Yeah. I think I bought a copy of Paper Mario for the N64 in there for 20 quid.
Right.
And opening it up is the only way you could tell that game's fake.
Yeah. Some of them look brilliant. They even have like weathered cases, don't they? So they look
like that literally had that slightly yellowed N64 look. They'd obviously used a game that was slightly older, somehow managed, opened it up, changed it all, put a sticker on, somehow weathered the sticker, and then sold it. You would not tell unless you opened it up. And with a game like that, I could tell it was, upon opening up, it's fake. But I think that's the only time I bought you buy a bundle of Pokemon games or something, and one's going to probably be fake.
Yeah. I think nowadays, where did I see there was a video a while ago, and they were saying there's as many fake Pokemon Game Boy Advance games as there is real ones out there now.
Yeah,
probably more. And they're getting so genuine. Like you say, the only way you can tell is open them up, just looking at that modern circuit.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them are crazy. But then sometimes, so that's quite the fun. Like, I've got some questionable Pokemon ROM hacks. There's some hilarious ones out there.
It's actually quite incredible what people do with these hacking these games.
There's some really, really good ones. Like, there's a Pokemon one where I think it's Pokemon Ghost, and you just have ghost types. It's really, really good. Like, some of the ROM hacks are incredible.
Yeah, because I know a few of the YouTubers hack games and make their own games with them in, sort of thing, and they've always quite interested me. Sort of older NES titles or Super NES titles, and change the RPG characters to themselves and have little characters done, and that's quite unique and quite good. But like you say, on the other hand, people hack these and duplicate them, and some of the stuff is terrible. What you can get, really, isn't it? Some if you get them really bad hacks, they play terrible, don't they? Screen tearing, and dear, they look awful. But at least that's I suppose as well, you've been collecting that long, you know what you're looking for as well, don't you? So
yeah, exactly.
If something's normally too cheap, it's too cheap for a reason,
Yeah, and sometimes with a lot of the with some of the fake Pokemon games, it is a good way to play some of them now, because a lot of them play pretty well still. They all play, and it's normally when you can't save. That's the kicker. When you think you've got a proper Pokemon game, you jump into it, you get a little way, and you hit save, and it doesn't. You're like, oh.
Yeah, I don't you say it is. I mean, especially the price of the Pokemon titles now. Some of them go for hundreds of pounds, so it probably is quite an approachable way of playing it. I know it's a fake game, but it's an affordable way of playing it for people who've never played it before, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, final question. What would you say is your favourite video game store? Be it an independent or a chain or...
My favourite store is definitely my local store here in Norwich, which is Last Level Games, because
a few times,
the calibre of stuff they get in there is absolutely crazy. Like, this week they got in an Atari Jaguar in a box which had never been used, and boxed games. And I could probably just go there each week and just make my videos. They have some crazy stuff coming in. They've had Virtual Boys boxed in there. They had the Panasonic Cube, like boxed. They do reach out to people when stuff comes in really well.
Yeah.
Like they know I'm always hunting for platinum games, and they do put stuff up online as soon as it comes in, but they get in some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen in there.
Yeah, it's a great little store to look around, isn't it?
As well as like the affordable stuff, like their prices are really good. They do pretty much price match CX on on most of their prices of a lot of stuff, but the stuff that I think collectors in this area know if there's something they want to sell from their collection, they will give them the right price and it will go to another collector. They just pricing's always good. They don't rip people off, and it's just a great store, really.
Yeah, it's a brilliant little store. I always pop in when I'm in Norwich. Just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, if you are ever in Norwich, Last Level Games, definitely check it out.
100%.
Oh, it's fantastic, and those guys know what they're talking about as well when it comes to games. Right, well, that's the end of the questions. So thanks for that, Dan. That was brilliant to learn about your channel and your collector goals and how your platinum collection's going. I still can't believe you've only got, what is it, 30 left, you say?
Just about 30 left, yeah.
Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, let's hope you get there by the end of the year, fingers crossed. But it leaves me now to add on to what you're hoping to play.
So coming back to what we started earlier, I will be jumping into Starfield at some point this year. But I do as well also need to upgrade to the Xbox Series X to do that. Like, while I know you can play it on the Xbox One using the cloud streaming, I don't think that's probably going to be the best way to play that game. Yeah,
I think, I mean, I know their cloud is pretty good. Xbox is probably one of the best ones there is, but I think I'd definitely recommend playing it on console itself. And although latest gen physical titles are very thin on the ground with Xbox, at least you got the option of sticking them Xbox One games in and playing.
Yeah.
So that's the big draw for me. But I think the way Microsoft are going, I think that's going to be all digital from now on, I think. But yeah, it's handy to have that disk drive in there just so you can chuck them Xbox One titles in and play, and certain 360 and originals you can play on there. So that's the draw to me on that system. But yeah, I'll definitely maybe hang on till you get a Series X and
definitely.
Is there anything else you're hoping to play, or?
I'm looking forward to this Cyberpunk add-on.
Okay, yeah. So you played through that first time around, did you? Cyberpunk?
Yeah, I was there day one with Cyberpunk,
which was probably interesting.
See, I never found it too bad. I'm quite understanding when it comes to like, if you play a game on day one now, you know what it is. I know that one promised the Earth and didn't quite deliver, but eventually, it's like people forget that with The Witcher 3. When The Witcher 3 first came out, that had its issues, and now it's an incredible game now. And I think if people haven't given Cyberpunk a try, I think now with like their big update with the expansion, I think now is an incredible time to play it.
Yeah, I think it's looking pretty good, pretty smooth now. I think that's took them quite a while to iron them bugs out, but I think they've done it now. So I think it's probably the premium experience is now if you're going to play it. So is there anything else, or is that all you're going to play or looking forward to play?
I'm trying to rack my brains of what it's called, but there's a Kickstarter. I'm going to have to look it up. There's a Kickstarter game I've backed on Kickstarter, which is a wrestling game which is coming out in the next few months. And I had to back it. And essentially, it is a spiritual successor to Ultra Pro Wrestling. That's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
It's a spiritual successor to WWE, WWF, No Mercy. With unlicensed characters. It was only on Kickstarter. It's coming to Nintendo Switch. I backed it on Kickstarter, and I cannot wait for that to turn up, because that is No Mercy on the N64 still is my favorite wrestling game of all time. We put in about 500 hours on that game.
Wow.
Don't play it periodically now. We literally had like virtual leagues on there, stuff like that. That and Halo was my go-to game at that kind of time. And yeah, if they can essentially remake that game, it looks exactly the same control-wise. it has updated graphics, it looks like it could be the best, because I like my wrestling games, but like 2K is very much, it's become a, let's just put out this year's with some updated graphics and roster. And I think AEW Fight Forever was a move in the right direction.
Yeah.
But it had about as much depth as a puddle. And I think this game looks like, I think it's a game I'm very excited to play once they finally bring it out.
Oh, that'd be good. It's got a few, like I say, we've got quite a few listeners who are big wrestling fans. So has it got an online on, or?
I think, it will have online. I think they are releasing it digitally, but I think it was to get a physical copy of it on. It was a Kickstarter, which has sadly ended. But I did do quite a bit of shout about it online when they first announced it. So I was like, that looks so cool.
Yeah, that'd be good. Bringing back the sort of heyday of wrestling games. And if you're able to play it online as well, that just makes it even better.
Exactly.
So is that coming out soon, or?
Yeah, I think it's the kind of classic with Kickstarter. You back it, you kind of sit back and wait. I think they're looking first or second quarter next year, but it's going to be like a full. And they're releasing it physically, and it's going to be like a Switch game, but in a SNES box. It looks really cool.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I like it when they go that extra mile to, even just the packaging and manuals and little trinkets you get makes such a difference to the experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Game, definitely. Is that all you're looking forward to play, Dan?
I think one of the games that's been on my list, we talked about roguelike games earlier, is Dead Cells Return to Castlevania.
Okay. I think I saw that advertised somewhere. That looked interesting.
Because we just really need a new Castlevania game. So I'll take anything I can get Castlevania-wise at the moment. Like, the Castlevania series on Netflix really kind of reinvigorized my love of that franchise. And there's a new Castlevania series coming on Thursday. I don't know when this goes out, but it's coming very soon to Netflix. I'm really excited for that. And going back and playing through the Castlevania collection from Limited Run recently, like, I just want more Castlevania now. And like, that looks like one of those perfect kind of drop-in, like, roguelike games, like we said, to have like the Castlevania finish on it. Yeah. I'm very excited to play it, but I just haven't got round to. It's definitely on my list to play very soon.
Oh, that sounds cool. Yeah, I think me, definitely Final Fantasy 16. Gonna looking to put a few more hours in this week. Definitely looking forward to that. Really enjoying that game. A bit more Daxter, I expect. And don't forget, everyone, Wednesday on my YouTube channel, Retro Gamer Thomas, I will be live streaming with Board Border, our third part of GTA 3. So thanks all who've been jumping on there on a Wednesday night. It's been great fun. Love playing the game again. Love chatting to all you guys. So yeah, definitely jump on there and do that. Probably play a bit more Daxter on the PSP in between, I would imagine. But yeah, I think it's probably. Oh, it might be a bit more Generation Zero. We'll play a bit more that online next week, sometime next weekend, I would imagine. But all that leaves me to say is, where can people find you on the socials, YouTube, etc., Dan?
So, main place to be is on YouTube, Dan the Games Man. Search me on there. New videos every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week. I've never fully committed to doing 2 videos a week just because life gets in the way quite often, but every Saturday live at 5 is always a video. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. Just trying to keep those going on those slowly dying platforms, and also on TikTok, which I'm actually really enjoying being on, doing like shorter videos on TikTok. It's like, it's a good platform, and I think it's one a lot more people will be doing stuff on to come in the future. So yeah, definitely chuck me a follow on all those. Yeah,
and we'll get Dan on the Discord as well.
Yes.
So we'll get him join the Discord so you can chat about there. And
I'll drop my PlayStation Platinum wish list in there as well if anyone can help me out with that.
Definitely. We've got quite a few collectors in there who are always swapping games and discs and cartridges and bits and pieces. So if anyone can help you, that's those guys. They can definitely source stuff. And now
I need all the help I can get.
Yeah, well, the good thing, we've got a guy who's going for, that's Rose Space Monk in the Discord. He's going for a complete Dreamcast collection. And
nice.
So whenever all of us are out in different shops or car boots, we're always finding pictures of Dreamcast going, do you need this one? Do you need this one? So
yeah, I get that quite often as well.
So hopefully we can all tag together and hopefully get Dan over the line with his Platinum collection. That'll be good. Just leaves me to say I will also add the discount ticket link for Format which is in Manchester next month, guys, 26th of October. We are guests there, so I will put a link in. So if you want to come along, you'll get 25% off your tickets. So keep an eye on that in the Discord. Also, don't forget, if you do join the Discord, we do a comment of the month competition. So the prizes now stand at, you can either have a UCP t-shirt or you can pick a £10 voucher for your choice. So it's either PlayStation, Xbox, or Switch. So it's totally up to you guys. Choose what you want. Last month's winner was Digital Monkery, and he chose his Xbox £10 voucher, which he now has. So enjoy that with the family, Digital Monkery and Mrs. Digital Monkery. And the month before was Gaming Graham, who chose his t-shirt and put a lovely picture of him sitting playing his games in his UCP t-shirt from last month. So we will be doing the end of this month, we'll be doing September's winner. So don't forget, keep commenting, and Boba, the community manager, will be picking that towards the end of the month. So it just leaves me to say, don't forget, guys, there is nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. That's what you do that counts. See you later, Dan.
See you later. Have a good day. Thank you for having me on again.
No problem.